So with reference to figure 5, and that was where the Turkish lira had dropped about 17%. One likely reason for the fall in the exchange rate of the lira. So one likely reason, we don't need a definition. It mentions two key things, one of them being a fall in exports due to China's economic growth slowing down. So in that situation, China's going to demand less exports. Net exports will reduce. That means the demand for lira will reduce. You've got the opportunity to draw supply and demand diagram. Don't forget the axis, exchange rate rather than price and quantity. And then you've got the fall in the exchange rate, exchange rate 1, and that fall in quantity to analyse there. So this now is a question about the costs and the benefits, potential benefits of an inflation rate which is estimated to be over 25%. That's a significant size in terms of if it's over 3%, the Bank of England is concerned in the UK. You have negatives to businesses and consumers. The key terms you're looking at for businesses are things like menu costs, so the costs of constantly changing prices. You have the cost to the consumer of shoe leather costs, which comes under an opportunity cost of people's time. You can look at the effects of inflation on discouraging savers, or the negatives that savers face from inflation, that it increases the price of assets and effectively reduces the value of their saving over time. On the benefit side, it has a significant impact on reducing consumer, business and government debt, especially when looked at from the point of view of assets. So if the value of assets are rising linked to inflation, then people who have borrowed are going to benefit from a higher value asset price in relation to the original debt that they paid for that. In terms of the evaluation, you can evaluate it from, it depends upon if it leads to a price wage spiral, which leads to hyperinflation, and that might get out of control and basically crash the whole economy. You could look at the causes of it. So is it cost push or demand pull? And why is one more significant than the other? With reference to extract E, examine the impacts of restriction on beef exports on how Argentine farmers decide to use their land. So it mentioned the export restrictions, so assuming that they are quotas or tariffs. These restrictions, the impact that it's looking at are on how farmers decide to use their land. So remember, this is looking at micro, and what we are effectively looking at is just supply and demand in markets. So the effect of the tariff, if you want it in as simple terms, is just the same as a tax. So it will raise the price of Argentinian beef exports globally, and that will reduce the quantity demanded. But what that will do is domestically, it will increase the supply domestically, which will bring down the price. So that's the top one, is the effect of the tariff on international markets, and the bottom one is the keeping the domestic supply of beef up to try to bring down the price. That's not going to happen in theory, because then what you potentially have is, as farmers can't make as much money from this, that they actually reduce supply. So there is evidence that farmers are switching to other crops such as soya because they are more profitable. You then also have that evaluation of why they may stay in the beef market. So that's one likely thing to happen, is that they may switch their crop. If they stay, you're looking for irrational behaviour, things such as inertia or economies of scale or specialisation, keeping the farmers in those markets.